Welcome back. I am your host. I am attorney Stephen Leahy. This is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560, The Answer. You missed it.
I did.
And I also wanted to mention that Tuesday is Election Day. Go out and vote. It's municipal elections. They're important. 75% of your property taxes are determined by these municipal elections. So go out and vote. And if you live up in Bannockburn or River, whatever that is, vote for Jake. Jake Leahy's running. He's gonna run.
Running for school board
on April 4th. So this is coming up. Vote. Go out and vote.
They took his signs down. Did you hear that?
No.
Illinois Department of Transportation.
On
your property.
I did not know that.
I know we can go off on them.
That seems odd.
That's okay. That's all right. Crush the little boy's hopes and dreams, IDOT.
Well, you know what? It's just proof of the largesse of government that they don't. You know, I guarantee that if it
came
was
knocking at the door at 7:30 in the morning.
I guarantee if it was one of the big Democrats signs, they wouldn't touch him because they'd be afraid. But
Yeah.
no, but when it's a little boy, and no one, and that's all I say about big government. No one's too small to be crushed.
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Know-It-All, the segment where Attorney Leahy stops his ramblings and rambles about something that we all care about.
Okay,
the IRS radio.
So I was on the train.
Well, actually, IRS.
I know it's
information.
I get going on that. I get it.
I know.
I'm a big government hater, I guess, and I don't want to be. But anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the question.
What is the question?
The question this week, I was on the train, and somebody who knows what I do on the train came up and said to me, now I knew that he had filed recently for Chapter 13 bankruptcy. He didn't file recently. He just finished. He got his discharge. So, right, Chapter 13 can go anywhere from 3 to 5 years. And so he had been in this program for 3 years. And he brought his taxes to his accountant. He didn't bring them to me. I don't know why, Jim. He should have brought them to me. That's
a great question.
And so he said, I got this gentleman lives in Wisconsin. And he said, I got my taxes done, and I got a 1099-C. Now, we talk about 1099-Cs on this show a lot.
And 1099-As.
Right? That's a cancellation of debt, right? So if I filed bankruptcy and it was discharged and my debt was discharged, I might get a 1099-C because that institution wants to account for it. They're going to write it off, and the IRS says they have to account for it, so they'll send you a 1099-C. And so and it had to do with his home. He lost his home, and there was a big amount of money that was left as a deficiency. Now, this is what happened, and I found out. This is why I'm bringing this up, because this is what I found out. First, I had to tell him if it was discharge of bankruptcy, and it wasn't the federal tax that he was concerned about. Because the federal tax, he didn't owe anything. That was discharge of bankruptcies. There's the Form 982 that we talk about on this show that lets you write it off and accept it, actually. And that wasn't his issue. His issue was with the state of Wisconsin. The state of Wisconsin was charging him, and
oh my gosh, because he gets paid in both states, doesn't he?
Well, he lives in Wisconsin, so he had to file Wisconsin state taxes, and Wisconsin does not let you deduct the. Remember, we talked about on the show. We talked about the one exception to the 1099-C is if I lost my home to foreclosure. There's the home.
Reimbursement Act.
There's that act from Congress that forgives you that debt, that lets you write it off if it was your primary residence. But what I learned, and I didn't know this, in Wisconsin, they don't let you write it off. You have to pay taxes on that debt, even though
that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
That's terrible.
And in Wisconsin, the high tax rate could be as much as 6.5%. So if they wrote off $50,000, I may have to pay 6.5% of that in income taxes to the state of Wisconsin. And so he had a bill of $40,000 to the state of Wisconsin, and that's what he came to me. Steve, how is that? I said, well, there's got to be something wrong. So I did some research, and I found this out. Again, that's why I found out that in Wisconsin they don't allow you to write off for your primary residence, but they do allow you to write it off or accept it from your taxes if you have insolvency. That's a reason why in the federal government you can too. Or if you filed bankruptcy, that's another reason why you can accept it. He had filed bankruptcy, it was discharged. His tax preparer got it wrong. and it was going to cost him $40,000.
Wow.
So not a little.
See how important it is to get your taxes done by professional.
Exactly right.
Tax season is coming to an end.
Right.
Call Open Tax Resolution 312-664-6649. Bring in your receipt from last year, and they will do it half off. Time is winding down.
And this reminds me of the thing in Illinois where in your federal taxes you can write off your gambling winnings, right, with the losses.
In Illinois you can't.
But in Illinois you can't. You any winnings you have, you're going to pay taxes on. And I had a client who made almost $200,000. Won $200,000. I shouldn't say made. He won $200,000, but he lost more than $200,000. But he had to pay tax on $200,000. Anyway, I hope that answered his question.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-all.
That's right. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-all. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, ChicagoTaxTeam.com. There's archival footage that you have access to, and YouTube, where you can go back and you can watch some of these previous episodes. Mr. Know-It-all will answer those questions that you have that we might not have answered on this show. So remember, ChicagoTaxTeam.com. It's going to be your hub to help fight the IRS. And also call Open Tax Resolution 312-664-6649. Now, again, tax season's coming to an end. Call them, and they will do your tax returns half off.
Correctly.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because after this commercial break, IRS Radio Hour is coming right back at you here on AM 560. The Answer.